The long road leads to this, the gold medal game of the 2021 World Junior Hockey Championship between Canada and the United States. They score! And the United States has taken the lead. They score! It's Seagrass, and the U.S. leads 2-0. Connor McMichael in, stopped by Knight. The United States plays a near perfect game and knocks off Canada in Edmonton.
Edmonton, Alberta, where 3 nights from now, Canada will open up the 2022 World Juniors against Czechia tonight. Their one and only warm-up game against forever rival Russia. And hey, new digs, the Oilers dressing room for Canada, and nobody has a key. That was before warm-up. They figured it out and emerge ready for the Russians. As we say hello, Canada, and welcome to your one and only look at Team Canada before the 2022 World Juniors. James Duthie alongside Bob McKenzie. Thrilled to be with you, particularly this year under the circumstances. It will be, for the second straight year, a very different World Juniors. Once again, under the backdrop of COVID and concerns over the new variant. There was a game canceled today, the first positive test within the World Juniors. But right now, the tournament is a go. And with NHLers not going to the Olympics this year, this is it. Best on best in men's hockey for the year. And what a way to get you warmed up for it with Canada versus Russia. Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro get you set.
James, only once in the history of the IIHF has a player won the men's world championship gold before winning world junior gold. That was Patrice Bergeron 16 years ago. 2 Canadian players have a chance to do it this year, Cole Perfetti and defenseman Owen Power. And Ray, Power was a central part of Canada's win in Latvia at the World Championship last spring.
Yeah, he started out as the number 8 defenseman, playing just a few minutes, a crumb here and there early in the tournament. Played 28 minutes in the semifinal game, 24 minutes in the gold medal game. Everything for Owen Power became simple as he became more confident. He's big, he's mobile, he gets around the ice. He's not going to use his size in a vicious way to hit. He angles. He keeps people controlled on the ice, but he moves the puck really well. He's really decided this year that one of his focuses was to improve his offensive game. He's had a terrific year in his college season. Power is not one of the questions that Dave Cameron and their staff are looking at as they try to evaluate through this first and only exhibition game. Owen Power is their mainstay.
And Russia raised a lot of eyebrows before the tournament. All the players they've brought here are playing in Russia this year, so no North Americans. They did that back in 2011, and they won the gold medal, beating Dave Cameron in Canada in the gold medal game. James?
All right, thank you, boys. Here is a look at your Team Canada. We'll get to the goalies in just a second. Captain Caden Gooley and Power lead an all-left shot blue line, and returnee Cole Perfetti and Jake Neighbours are Canada's 2 alternate captains. First and foremost question going into any World Juniors for Canada, who will emerge as the starting goaltender? I guess we settle that tonight, Bob?
Yeah, a lot of that will depend on what happens tonight. What we know is New York Ranger prospect who just signed his NHL contract with them, Dylan Durand, is going to get the start in this game. It's expected that Sebastian Cossa, the Detroit Red Wing first round, will get second half. Brett Bruchot is not dressed, so we'll see what happens after this game tonight.
The other thing we are watching tonight, only the second ever matchup between the two guys expected to go first and second overall in the 2023 draft. Connor Bedard, who looks about 13 in this photo. Matvei Michkov, who looks about 30 in this photo, Bob. What are you expecting tonight?
Well, Bedard's a 16-year-old. He starts as the 13th forward in this game for Canada on the second power play. Michkov may get a little more opportunity in this Russian lineup. We will have to see tonight. And all that 2023 talk, don't forget a kid named Adam Fantilli, who's not in this game tonight.
Absolutely, and possibly their only meeting of this tournament. No guarantee that Canada and Russia will play this year, being in different groups.
The 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship is presented by Esso, proudly fueling Hockey Canada since 1984. By Nike, official gear of Canada's national hockey teams. By TELUS, we're using the power of our purpose to help make the world a better place. Together, let's make the future friendly. And by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of Team Canada. The 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship is brought to you in part by the 2022 Chevrolet Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Chevrolet, find new roads.
For the second straight year, Edmonton, a host city for the World Junior Hockey Championship, and only one dress rehearsal this year. And today, Canada takes on Russia in its only pre-tournament game, a rematch of their semifinal meeting won a year ago by Canada, 5-0. Referees are Jonas Kova from Finland, Adam Kika of Czechia, Daniel Persson from Sweden is the linesman, along with Roman Slavakovsky from Russia. And we'll see some rotating officials in this game as they try to get everyone in. And there is Yaroslav Askarov playing in his third World Junior for the Russians. He allowed 4 goals on 34 shots in that semifinal loss to Canada. He's been up and down in his appearances in the World Junior Tournament over the years. And there is 19-year-old Dylan Garand, native of Victoria, BC. Bob McKenzie mentioned he signed his entry-level contract with the New York Rangers this week. Plays for Kamloops in the Western Hockey League. 51-year-old Sergei Zubov, Hockey Hall of Famer, is behind the bench for the Russians, a late replacement for Igor Larionov. Zubov has coached for 5 years on and off in the KHL. And Dave Cameron coached Canada back in 2011, a heartbreaking loss to Russia in the gold medal game that year. Went on to become the head coach of the Ottawa Senators and then the Vienna Capitals in Austria for the last 3 years. He's now the head coach of the Ottawa 67s in the Ontario Hockey League. And for Team Canada, it's been a long camp. There have been cuts made, but the team is selected, and now one chance to see them together. And Dave Cameron telling us earlier today, Ray, there's a lot he wants to see.
Well, so much to try and cram in evaluation-wise, and one of his hopes is that they play a lot of the game 5-on-5, so you get to see lines out together. He said he's not going to move the lines around much, that the lines will stay in their formation so they can try and build a little chemistry. It's one thing to scrimmage against each other internally, another to play against an opponent.
In 2019 at the Hlinka Gretzky Summer Under-18 tournament, these teams faced each other. Jake Neighbors was one of the players who played for Canada. The Russians won that game 3-2. 23 players who played in that game are here tonight. Owen Zellweger plays it across for his D partner. Owen Power quickly bumped there, but Power moves it ahead to Zellweger, a smooth skating defenseman for Everett in the Western Hockey League, who grew up here in Fort Saskatchewan, just outside Edmonton. And the puck loose in the corner. Move back to the blue line and now poked ahead. And brought in by Svechkov. Power back with it. Played 10.5 minutes in the third period of the gold medal game of the World Championship. He played less than 30 seconds in the first period of the first game.
It's just remarkable to see how much he became a relied upon player at that tournament. Just an early note there, he's out on the ice with Owen Zellweger, and Zellweger, like everybody else in the Canadian blue line's a lefty. They both ended up on the same side of the ice as they were trying to break out of the zone. They'll have to get used to each other and the sides of the ice they're on.
Perfetti chips out ahead with Shane Wright, the presumptive first overall pick in the upcoming NHL draft. By the way, to that, the Russians say that's nothing. Every skater on their team is a left-handed shot. Askarov, the goaltender, the only righty they have.
It's just remarkable that there wouldn't be, out of 22 skaters, they wouldn't have one right-hander somewhere.
Left behind the net by Arseny Kormislov. And now brought out by Yegor Sabakov. That gold medal win by the Russians back in 2011, their last in the World Junior Championship. There have been 4 silver medals since then for them. As Mason McTavish works in, McTavish in, shoots! And Askarov makes the save on Mason McTavish, who has 2 goals in the NHL this year for Anaheim before being sent back to Peterborough of the Ontario League. Canada lost the gold medal game last year to the United States, beat the Russians in that hotly contested gold medal game on Ostrava in 2020, and of course beat Sweden in 2018 in Buffalo. Off the draw, McTavish wins it back to Donovan Sabrango. And here's Kent Johnson from the Michigan Wolverines, a teammate of Owen Powers there. Johnson contracted COVID in early December, but was able to serve his quarantine and qualify to join Team Canada late in camp. Sabrango around to Johnson, who's having a terrific year in the NCAA. Native of Port Moody, BC, flips out ahead. And Maverick Bork pokes at it along the boards. Moved back by Nikita Novikov. And now brought out by Shakir Mohammedullin. First round pick of New Jersey in the 2020 draft. Right away, Will Cooley got into the forecheck. And now poking at it is Ivan Chinchenko. He can't clear it out. And finally does bounce back to center ice, and Ryan O'Rourke back to pick it up. O'Rourke snaps that pass ahead for Denoyer. Couldn't quite reach it. And Elliot Denoyer had that knocked away from him. And now it's poked back by Ivan Dudkovsky. The Russians will open against Sweden on Boxing Day and close out the round robin against the United States in Red Deer on December 31st. Now Marat Husnudinov works in. That shot by Matvei Michkov, turned away by Garant. Matvei Michkov, the recently turned 17-year-old, is projected to be a top pick along with Connor Bedard in the 2023 NHL draft. Michkov has played this year for SK St. Petersburg in the KHL.
And 17 goals in 11 games in the MHL. And then he's played up in the KHL, as you mentioned. He's got 5 points there as well.
The MHL is the Russian Junior League. He, of course, was the MVP of the under-18s last spring as Russia faced Canada for the gold medal. Canada won that. Canada has 6 players from that under-18 tournament playing on its roster this year. Zellweger to center ice to Cole Perfetti. Now Zellweger back with it. That pass goes off a skate. And the bouncing puck knocked down by Perfetti. Would an all-lefty defense concern you?
A little bit. There's going to be times where the players are going to be put into a really challenging spot, and not everybody can handle it. I mean, it'll be fine for most of the time. Once in a while, it's going to be a challenge.
Wright turns it over. Brought in now by Guzlistov. And now a centering pass goes off a stick, bounces back in front to Perfetti. He's been playing for the Manitoba Moose of the American League this year. First round pick of the Winnipeg Jets. Maverick Bork works in. He got tied up there by Nikita Smirnov. And now Johnson looks in the corner. Kent Johnson plays it back. Gulia's shot. Askarov couldn't find it. Rebound Johnson in. Fanned on it. And now poked away by Chibrikov. Johnson got knocked down in the corner as he was taken in hard by Novikov. And now that long shot is gloved by Askarov.
There's Dylan Garand, as the guys mentioned. Congratulations to him signing his entry-level NHL contract. Announced today, Husnudinov dances through the middle of the ice, and Michkov, of his great talents, has an NHL delivery. Test Garand, right pad stop, and then the rebound is going to pop right to the top of the crease. The Russians are two at first. It's Demidov, and he hits the outside of the goalpost.
Now a hand pass called in the offensive zone against Canada. It's hard to recall a tournament, Ray, where we're going to see so many players who have not yet been drafted playing starring roles. Of course, you got Owen Power from last year's first overall pick. You rarely see them in the World Junior the next year. But you've got Shane Wright, who will likely go first overall this year. You've got Bedard and Michkov, who are going to be likely 1-2 or in the conversation for 1 in 2023.
Well, certainly a lot of factors to it. I mean, some of it is players are making to the NHL quicker than ever before, and they're not being released by the NHL teams. Others are, these younger players develop quicker, and they just push their way onto rosters. I mean, Connor Bedard, you know, as we see him right there, he gets to camp, and he left Canada no choice but to take him onto this team. He wasn't the guarantee by any stretch.
So 22 skaters and 3 goaltenders on the 25-man rosters for this tournament, so that means there will be healthy scratches throughout the tournament. Canada is dressing extra players for this pre-tournament game, in agreement with the Russians to put more players out. Jake Neighbors pokes it back in. Logan Stankoven, the only scratch for Canada this evening. Now picked free by Ridley Gregg, shoots, Askarov makes the stop. And Gregg knocked down hard from behind by Semyon Demidov, and a penalty coming to Russia as Gregg was spilled. No score here in the first period. Canada the power play after that.
There's the penalty up at the top of the screen as Ridley Gregg gets cross-checked. Semyon Demidov takes the cross-checking penalty. Canada's power play will get their first chance here. It'll be the 4 forwards, and Owen Power will be the defenseman at the back.
So Power and Kent Johnson talking things over at the back. The two Michigan Wolverines. You got McTavish, Perfetti, and Maverick Bourque up front. And Johnson races to it, holds the line for a moment, and now sent down the ice by Svechkov, and a rolling puck that Owen Power had to be careful with. Power to Perfetti. The two returnees for Canada. In comes Maverick Bourque. Bourque for Perfetti. Swings it back across, and that shot taken right on. Rebound score! McTavish on the rebound of Johnson's shot, and Canada's got a 1-0 lead in the power play goal.
Well, that didn't take very long as Mason McTavish, who has a couple of goals in his 9 NHL games in Anaheim this year, is on the board. Excellent break and entry by Maverick Bourque as he pushes the Russians deep into the zone. That opens up this cross-seam pass, as Perfetti's going to go through the seam to Johnson. Johnson's attempt to the net is actually a pass to McTavish. Askarov gets a pad on it, but there's nobody to tie up McTavish's stick, and he's got an easy one, and Canada's on the board.
Well, Mason McTavish has had quite a year already. We mentioned he scored 2 goals for Anaheim in the NHL. He played in their season opener. He wasn't supposed to. He skated with the healthy scratches in the morning, but Max Jones got sick in the afternoon, so when he got to the rink, they said, "You're playing," and he scored in his first NHL game against the Winnipeg Jets.
Sometimes it's better not to think about it.
And now a chance there for Zlodev. There's Zlodev, shot that wide. Battling forward is Maverick Bourque. On the other side is Johnson. And Johnson banks it back around. Lucas Cormier trying to knock it down, and the puck loose in the corner. Cormier feeds it back for the Canadian captain, Caden Goulet. Goulet and Perfetti, the two returnees from last year. Owen Power did not play last year despite being eligible for Canada. Elected to stay at Michigan given the quarantine issues that were going on at the time. And now Justin Sorda works in, shoots. Askarov save, rebound, score! And that's Ridley Gregg who snaps that home. And Canada grabs a 2-0 lead, but hang on, they're going to review this. So the two referees.
It's a pretty slick play coming into the zone here, and Ridley Gregg puts away the rebound. They'll review this immediately. The official went to the review. Terrific play entering the zone by Jake Neighbors, and Ridley Gregg throws this rebound into the top of the net. Sort of enters the zone. I don't see anything there.
Except a nice shot by Ridley Gregg.
I mean, there's nobody within 2 feet of the net. It's a rebound burped out after some traffic going to the front of the net. A sort of shot originally is stopped by Askarov, and Gregg puts this away. I don't see any way this is a problem here. A quick start for Canada.
Maybe you're looking to see if the puck went into the net. It wasn't in very long. But it clearly is, and so Canada's grabbed a quick 2-0 lead, as you mentioned. Ridley Gregg, first-round pick of the Ottawa Senators.
Of the lines that Dave Cameron and his staff put together, they bounced them around a little bit as they tried to adjust and tinker at training camp. The one line that didn't come apart at all was this line with Neighbors, Gregg, and Sordiff. They're going to be a line that plays against the other team's top groups. They're on the board here.
And there on the right is Mike Dick, one of the assistant coaches for Canada, who has coached Ridley Gregg on and off since the age of 10. Of course, Ridley's dad, Mark Gregg, was an NHL player. So 2 goals in 50 seconds takes Canada to a 2-0 lead. And Ray, Askarov's a first-round pick and a high one, 11th overall. But you wonder if the Russians aren't concerned about their goaltender.
Well, he's never really looked like he's going to lock down anything, and this is his 3rd tournament. We've seen him back-to-back years. Highly touted, athletic. yet he's not been able to really look like he's in control of the game at any point.
Now Perfetti, a long shot that's knocked away by Askarov, who was the goaltender for the Russians in that Holinka Gretzky Cup championship against Canada and played terrifically well in that championship game. He was probably the reason they won the gold medal. Xavier Bourgault plays that back across. And here's Sabrango with it. Carson Lambos to the Winnipeg Ice of the Western League, coached there by James Patrick, longtime NHL defenseman. Benoye moves that back down to the Russian zone. The Russians, we mentioned, brought all their players from Russia. No North Americans are on this roster this year. That means 2 returning players, Yan Kuznetsov and Daniel Chayka, are not back. And they also didn't bring Matvei Petrov, an Edmonton Oilers prospect, who's tied for 3rd in goal scoring in the Ontario Hockey League right now. So the Russians, as always, are full of intrigue and mystery. There was a coaching change, Zubov taking over for Larionov. They lost the gold medal game, as we mentioned, in 2020 to Canada, but nothing to show in terms of gold medals since that 2011 win, the famous 3rd period comeback against Dave Cameron's Team Canada.
And just 1 gold since 2004, but they've won 14 medals. They always seem to be a team you think is going to win, and they just cannot find a way to finish the tournament off.
Now Johnson bats that back to O'Rourke right in front. Had to be careful. That was Ronan Seeley, and here's Seeley back with it. Seeley plays for Everett in the Western League. Rink wide pass ahead for Johnson. He moves in on Savikov. Brought back in by Chabrikov. Svechkov got bumped along the boards. And now a loose puck in front. A good stop there by Garand. On Fedor Svechkov.
A good track by Garand as that puck he thinks is coming to the net. And Svechkov grabs it. He has to track it, find it, and make the stop.
Now a turnover, and Gregg is back the other way. Ridley Gregg moving in with Sorted. Gregg shoots him a sharp angle, and Askarov makes the save. There were some questions about Askarov at the start of the year in Russia. He was sent down to the 2nd league in Russia. He and Garand faced off in that championship game at the Holinka Gretzky Cup. Here's Garand's save. Here's
the save. As you see, it's through the traffic. He thinks it's going to his left, but he's able to keep an eye on it and then move to his right. Garand says he wants to control the crease like UC Saros. It's funny, you know, you emulate somebody that looks like you, plays like you. Saros is about the same size as Garand. You're not big, so you've got to stay on your angles, be able to control the crease. They both do a nice job.
Zellweger, a long shot. That deflects wide. Power in deep on it. Bumped there by Husnudinov, but Power works it free. The 6'5" Canadian defenseman Power drops it back for Neighbors. He got spun around. Now a Russian defender has lost his stick. It's in the feet of Power, who still makes the pass. And Zellweger, a long shot that hit Askarov. Not sure he saw it.
He didn't even react. He was up, standing on his feet, and this hit his pad right down by his toe.
In comes Matvei Michkov on the forecheck, number 17 for Russia. His coach in SK St. Petersburg is Valery Bragin, a longtime coach of the Russian national junior team. Now a chance and a shot packed wide there by Demidov. That shot taken by Koromizlov is blocked, and almost a break there for Neighbors, but end of a shift for him. He heads off. Goulet. Back across to Cormier. Lead pass to Perfetti, who chips that ahead, knocked in by Wright. And Askarov knocks that away. But Perfetti knocks down the clearing attempt. Throws it back in, and here's Bedard going after it. Connor Bedard from the Regina Pats of the Western League. Drops that back, picked up by Perfetti. Cole Perfetti slides it back to Wright. So you got Wright and Bedard out there together for Canada. Bedard moves it back across. Cormier, a long shot. And Askarov gloves it. Mason McTavish, Ridley Gregg have the goals, and Canada has an early 2-0 lead on Russia in pre-tournament action for the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship. Coverage of the NBA on TSN continues Saturday with a Christmas Day triple header, starting with a rematch of an intense 2021 playoff series as the Hawks take on the Knicks. That's Lakers, Mavericks, Jazz, all coming up starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on TSN. And the next day, this tournament begins, Boxing Day. Canada will open against Czechia. If you've not heard the news, the Czech Republic has officially asked to be called Czechia in English from now on. And now a chance for the Russians. Little backhand shot taken by Guzlistov. Turned away by Garan. And now an injured player. And it is Fedor Svechkov, who was down in the Canadian zone.
Was hit by a shot, I believe, from the point, and looks like he took that just on the ankle.
Now, we've mentioned before 25-man rosters here, Ray, so you do have extra players. You can't add anyone. Once the players arrive here December 15th, no one can be added. Ooh, ouch.
Nice quick entry by Russia into the zone, and Huznadinov was able to test Garan. There's the shot from the side, and ouch, as Svechkov is trying to turn to see where the puck's going to the net, it catches him in the ankle.
Face off outside the Russian line. Ahmadulin plays it across, and Smirnov with it. Flips that down in the Canadian zone. Zinchenko goes after it. Goulet. Now picked up by Sabrango. Throws out ahead trying to find Gunther, and Dylan Gunther couldn't quite reach that. And the face-off will come back down to the Canadian zone as you get a look at Will Cooley, who plays for the Windsor Spitfires in the Ontario Hockey League. Rangers second-round pick, 18 goals in 22 games for him. One of the top goal scorers in the Ontario League when he left for the Canadian training camp.
6'4", size. This Canadian team built a little bit differently than those in the past. They got a little more edge, they feel, to them, a little more grit and size.
Michkov tapped that back and a sharp angle shot. Taken there by Kromlithov. Stopped by Garan, and then Michkov turned away in the rebound. Another shot from Karamislav at the flex wide. Michkov does not play a ton when he plays in the KHL, mostly on the second power play. Plays more in their junior league, the MHL. Eligible for the 2023 draft, but he's under contract till 2026, a 6-year deal. McTavish plays it back across, Johnson scores! McTavish to Johnson to the back of the net, and it's 3-0.
When Kent Johnson was in quarantine, Dave Cameron said, yeah, as soon as he pops out, we'll get him with McTavish on this line. Turnover in the middle of the ice, and Johnson and McTavish play the two-man game. A give and a go, and Johnson, who set up McTavish for the first one, is the beneficiary of this feather pass, and he one-times it by Askarov, who has no chance, and it's a 3-0 Canada lead.
Mel Pearson, the coach at Michigan, told us earlier in the week that Johnson might remind you a little bit of another Michigan Wolverine, Kyle Connor, who plays for Winnipeg, in terms of the release.
I think we're going to see Kent Johnson be able to do some things with the puck that not many people can do. Connor, to me, is just a fabulous finisher. He's a blazer. But there's a skill level to Kent Johnson and a flair to his game that's going to separate him from a lot of people. He's got a little Trevor Zegras in him. You know,
well, that's all right.
Oh, yeah.
In comes Johnson, flips it ahead, takes the return pass from Maverick Bourque. Moves to the side of the goal. He'll be the first popular Michigan Wolverine in Columbus, Ohio. Drafted the 5th overall by the Blue Jackets. Now brought out by Alexander Pashin. Pashin moved that ahead to Tuknev, and a sharp angle shot stopped there by Garan. And a late whack there draws some attention as Pashin got in there.
Here's Kent Johnson in warm-up. He's getting warmed up. Both guys are trying to get their feet and their legs going, and Johnson's got all kinds of tricks going on here. There's zero chance many people are able to do that. And then we see him set up McTavish early. He steals the puck here later. A little give and the goal. And his one-timer is into the back of the net. Johnson's a former Trail Smoke Eater, played in the Cominco Arena in the BC Junior League.
We should mention that. We have to get that in, do we not?
Oh, yeah.
Trail BC native, or you're Trail BC native?
I am, yes.
He's from Fort Moody.
He came to Trail and played for a year for Jeff Tambellini. Jeff now scouts with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and
And that name, it's not the same level, but that name is a very famous one in Canadian hockey history. The Trail Smoke Eaters won the World Championship back in 1961.
We're very proud of the Smoke Eaters in Trail. It's amazing the legacy of hockey that came from those gentlemen.
Surprised it took you this long to get that in, to be honest with you.
Well, we didn't have time. They kept scoring here, so.
Novikov plays it along the boards. And Daniil Yurov, a draft-eligible prospect for the upcoming draft. He's very highly regarded, playing in the KHL for Magnitogorsk. Ooh, look out. Zellweger was fortunate to avoid a feet-first collision to the boards there. Koromizlov drops that back, and Savchenko with a shot that was blocked by Neighbors. And Power has it back. Owen Power flips that down to the Russian zone. Power goes back, Everett. Power's the first overall pick who didn't play in the NHL the next year in 15 years.
And Eric Johnson the last.
Cole Perfetti back with it. Eric Johnson went back for his freshman year in college after being picked first overall. Power was already playing in college when he was drafted first overall by Buffalo. And a penalty coming to Russia. Perfetti drops it back to Cormier. Garand heads down to the Canadian bench. And on comes guess who? Kent Johnson. Perfetti across to right. Johnson comes streaking in. Dangles in. Finally the Russians touch up. And with 5:17 to go in the first period, Canada up 3-0 is going back to the power play.
Didn't take very long for Canada to score in the power play earlier, Mason McTavish. And now they're going to get a chance to go back on the power play as the high stick to Caden Gooley is called. So this #1 group, who was only on the ice for 20 seconds the first time, gets another opportunity.
And flip back down the ice as Durant is out to play it for Power. And away comes Owen Power. Perfetti. Back to Power. And in comes Johnson with it. Kent Johnson shoots. That was blocked. Rebound loose in front. Johnson reaching for it. Picked up by Perfetti. Perfetti. That centering pass from Bork misfiring, goes over the glass and out.
One of the interesting parts with a power play like this is you have guys playing in unfamiliar positions. I mean, Power plays on the blue line, but for the most part, guys play on the half wall. Then you get to a team like this, and players that are on the half wall have to play in the bumper spot. They have to play in the front of the net, and you have to kind of feel your way a little bit. The angles look different. The puck comes at you in a different way.
Now Zellweger, a wrist shot. Bounces back to Cormier, so the second unit gets a look. Bedard is on it.
And so Bedard's in the middle of the ice where he wouldn't normally be.
And Shane Wright as well. Feeds it back in front. Bedard in, shoot. Cormier scores! Lucas Cormier collects the loose puck, and the power play goal makes it 4-0 Canada.
The second Canadian group has 2 defensemen on it. Cormier and Zellweger play on the blue line. It's some quick puck movement. This has become a nightmare first period for Askarov here. This is a terrific play by Jake Neighbors as he's just in front of the goal line. So often the forward will get below the goal line. Now you limit your options. Neighbors stays in front of the goal line to catch the pass. Now he's got a clean passing lane to Lucas Cormier, who's got the wide open net to make it 4-0. Canada 2 for 2 on this power play.
Cormier has more points than any defenseman in the Quebec League this year, playing for Charlottetown in the Quebec Major Junior League, a New Brunswick native. Now pick free by Gooley. Caden Gooley traded to the Edmonton Oil Kings of the Western Hockey League earlier this month from Prince Albert. Now Gooley flips that wide. So playing in his home rink here. Loose puck, pick free. Digging at it. There's Desnoyers. Now loose in front of the Canadian bench and played back across by Dylan Gunther, who also plays here for the Oil Kings. He's an Edmonton native. He's basically had his career parked here. Grew up playing here, plays for the Oil Kings. Had he played in the Lincoln Gretzky Cup, that would have been here too, but it was canceled last summer. Borgo, a centering pass, goes back to O'Rourke. O'Rourke shoots. That goes off the leg of Hustavidov over the glass, and out 3:27 to go in the first period.
First power play group scored 15 or 20 seconds in. It didn't take this second group much longer. Right to Neighbors, and Cormier takes that pass. What a sweet feed. As the Russian defense is occupied with Bedard in the front of the net. A disappointed look for Zinchenko, and it's 4-0.
Neighbors has 2 assists in the first period. And it's chipped down by Paschet. Back was Seeley to pick it up. And round he goes for Maverick Bourque. Bourque, it's tied up with the linesman skates, and now Seeley back with it. Seeley dances in, throws that down as Johnson goes after it. Kent Johnson trying to dig that free. And McTavish looking for the loose puck as well. Paschet couldn't find it. Here's Bourque. Slides it back, and Seeley had to retreat to center ice. Shots are 14-7 Canada. Greg across to Power. Owen Power flips that puck across. And now Johnson sends it back down to the Russian zone. Mohamedulin works his way in. Mohamedulin tied up there by Zellweger. Brought back the other way quickly as Neighbors fires it down. Jake Neighbors, also an Edmonton Oil King, moves that down. They're having a terrific year in the Western League. Lead pass bumped across by Smirnov. And Neighbors has it back for Canada. Up for Greg. In come Greg and Neighbors. Greg holds, tries to drop that back through the traffic. Zellweger in, shoots, Askarov save. And he quickly pounces on the rebound.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Quaker Oats, proud partner of Canadian Hockey Mornings.
Another scoring chance for Canada's defense. This time it's Zellweger. He actually is the 4th person into the rush. Owen Power was the 3rd, his defense partner. They're right up in the play, and as the puck bounced off of Power, Zellweger was there to get a clean look at Askarov.
Zellweger, one of those guys who played in the under-18s last spring for Canada, was the top defenseman in that tournament. Cooley moves that head to Cormier. Desnoyers had a bump along the boards, but the puck comes loose. Desnoyers moves in and shoots. Askarov makes the stop, and a penalty coming, a tripping call. Will go against.
I think it's against Russia.
It is, and it's going to be Karamislov who goes off. Another penalty of the Russians, and Sergei Zubov looks on.
Sergei can't be digging this coaching thing here. Is down 4-0, and thankfully for them, it's an exhibition game, but the trip is, oh yeah, right there is the foot of Karamislov. Kicks out the Canadian forward, and back to the power play.
Canada scored 21 seconds into its first and 51 seconds into its second. And here's Power to run things. Power to Perfetti, to McTavish, back to Johnson. Johnson to Power. Swings it back, Johnson shoots, that goes off the foot of Novikov, up and out of play.
Canada's got this great advantage on their power play as they can run things through Perfetti on the left or Johnson on the right. 2 very slick passers that can find the open man. Johnson shooting the one-timer over there on the power pass. Man, that makes it difficult to defend when you can attack so cleanly from both sides of the ice.
Here's Power with it. Back across to Johnson. To the goal mouth to McTavish. Back to Johnson. Rink wide he goes to Perfetti. Canada throwing it around here on the power play. Perfetti in for McTavish. Rings it around for Johnson. Minute and a half to go in the power play. Power back across. Perfetti Tried to swing that back across. That was deflected. Johnson knocked it down. The final minute now of the period. Johnson pulls it free. Swings it back to Power. Back to Johnson. Shoots. He rattled that high. Perfetti back with it. Perfetti got bumped along the boards by Dudkovsky. Kept alive by Bork. Back to Johnson. Ken Johnson swings it back. Owen Power walks in. Bobbled the puck for a moment. Swings it back to Johnson. And now Johnson looks back for Bork. Perfetti. Power. Johnson. In. Shoots. Askarov knocks that away. Johnson back with it. 25 seconds to go in the period. Power shoots. That's deflected in front. Knocked down the ice by Zlodeyev. Zellweger. In the final seconds now of the period. Neighbors ahead to Cormier, back for Neighbors. And just out of his reach, now Neighbors falls in the corner. Final seconds of the period. And Canada will have 24 seconds of power play time to carry over into the second period. It was all Canada in the first. 4 goals, McTavish, Gregg, Johnson, and Cormier in the one dress rehearsal for the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship, which begins on Sunday. Our first intermission is coming up.
TSN's World Juniors First Intermission is brought to you by Quaker Oats, proud partner of Canadian Hockey Mornings.
Character, integrity, respect. If we bring good sportsmanship on and off the ice, we can help end bullying.
The NFL playoff race is a jumbled mess in both conferences, and that makes it fun. Week 16 continues Saturday, a Christmas Day doubleheader. Browns kick off against the Packers. Colts and Cardinals begins 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on TSN and CTV2, Canada's home for the National Football League. Also home to the World Juniors, James Duthie and Bob McKenzie with intermission number 1. And man, that was impressive. This is Russia, not Austria. No offense to our Austrian friends. We love Austria, but they were all over them. Let's start with the power play. What made it so effective?
Well, they've got so many weapons, and it also helps when the Russians are giving you so many opportunities. Some undisciplined play by Russia early in that first period, but they got goals from each of the top 2 power play units. McTavish, 22 in front of the net, sets up there, 23 rather, and he's a hard man to move. The Anaheim prospect, first rounder, plays for the Peterborough Petes. He is a real strong presence in the middle of the ice. Now you got your second power play unit, and you've got some real good offensive ability from the back end. Cormier comes in backdoor, really nice feed from Neighbors, and so Canada's power play goes 2 for 2 to start the game. Missed on the third one, obviously, and still have 24 seconds left on that power play to start the second period.
And it's not really a top line. It's really an interchangeable 1 and 1A with the top 6. But so far, that McTavish-Johnson-Bork line looked like a real number 1 line, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. You've got sublime skill in Kent Johnson, the Columbus first rounder who plays for the University of Michigan. And as I said, you've got a real heavy game, but also a skillful game for McTavish. And Maverick Bork is very much the defensive conscience on that line, but he's skilled as well. And you end up with a 3-on-1. And I mean, McTavish, great saucer pass, and Johnson just takes that one right out of the air almost and puts it in the back of the net. Just sublime skill. Now, the other line that was the most noticeable for Team Canada in that first period, for lack of a better term, we call it a shutdown line. You've got Jake Neighbors, the St. Louis second rounder on the left side, and you've got Justin Surdoff on the right side, and you've got a line that is going to make some things happen in terms of playing against the other team's best players, but also creating offense. Ridley Gregg finishes this one off, but that was a really tic-tac-toe play from a line that Dave Cameron wants to play shutdown against the other team's best players. So a real good first period for those 2 lines in particular, 5-on-5 and on the power play.
It's always a challenge for some players because they're all stars with their own teams and coming to having to play a shutdown role, but knowing that they can provide offense. I mean, Ridley Gregg has 14 goals and 28 points with Brandon this season in just 19 games. 4-0 Canada. Still have a few seconds left on the power play to start the second. We'll talk about all those left shots on the Canadian D with our man Craig Button right after this on the World Juniors on TSN.
Marie-Philippe Poulin supports the Hockey Canada Foundation Assist Fund because she knows that when we help get kids on the ice, there's no limit to the power of play. Give an assist. Donate now.
All right, it begins for real on Boxing Day. Here are your 4 games. Finland versus Germany. That one from Edmonton, 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Russia, Sweden in Red Deer. And then it is the Czechs against the Canadians. Pre-game show starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. U.S. versus Slovakia wraps up the day also from Red Deer. You heard Gordon Ray talking about this. Canada's D and Russia's D all left shots. No righties. In fact, Russia's entire team left shots. 3 Canadian teams have been all left on D previously. None have won gold. 6th in 92, 3rd in 2001, 2nd in 2002 with TSN's Carlo Koliakovo among the leftists as we bring in our Craig Button. Craig, do we make much of this, or does it matter whatsoever in your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what Dave Cameron said to me. He said, ideally, I would like a left-right combination. He says it's easier to make a play on your forehand from the right side than it is on your backhand. But he also feels that they have the best defensemen available to them and left-shot defensemen that have played on the right side. He said it's going to be a work in progress to make everybody comfortable, not just the players playing on their offside, but the forwards in back checking, the forwards in being in support positions, receiving a pass, grinding it out, how the goaltender sets the puck for the defenseman coming around the net. So these are all things that are not just something they're aware of, they're something they're going to continually work on. And, you know, you consider that the Russians last year in the tournament had all left-shot defensemen, and this year Canada has all left-shot defensemen. But Dave Cameron and Alan Miller made this very clear. They were not going to just put right-shot defensemen on the team because they shot right. They needed to be better. And they feel that this collection of 8 defensemen, all shooting left, are their best options.
Now, Russia in its history, they've always favored the left shot. But do you remember any team ever having no right shots on their team?
Well, I'll go back to the 1976 Canada Cup, James. They only had 1 right shot player on that team. That was Petrov. Last year's World Junior team, the Russians only had 1 right shot player on their team, Spiridonov. What I would say is this. The Russians had a theory about players shooting a certain way. They felt that if you were right-hand dominant, you should shoot left. And if you were left-hand dominant, you should shoot right. So that may have a real big factor in so many left shots with respect to the Russian hockey. Now, I will tell you this. The greatest Russian player of all time, James, just happens to shoot right. That's Alexander Ovechkin. And the coach of this Russian team, Sergei Zubov, he's only one of 2 Russian defensemen in the Hockey Hall of Fame, along with Slava Fetisov. Oh, yeah, he shoots right also. Are they left-handed dominant? I don't know. You're a lefty. You tell me what way you shoot.
I'm a righty. I don't think the Russians want me, though it does seem a little odd. It would be a disadvantage to not have any right shots on your team. It certainly was through one period of play. All Canada, the second just ahead.
TSN's World Juniors First Intermission is brought to you by Quaker Oats, proud partner of Canadian Hockey Mornings.
McTavish, Johnson, Neighbors, all with multiple points in that first period of play. A lot of Canadian flags on that board. Gordon Miller, Ray Ferraro, and the second.
Well, James, we began the day talking about the fact that all of Canada's defensemen shoot left, but when you move the puck like this, it's not a problem.
Not a problem at all, and if you're loaded with offensive forwards that can score, if your defense can't move the puck through the defensive zone to the mid zone and get it on your stick at the right time, you're not going to score. Look at how the Canadian defense goes D to D, moves the puck up the ice, and now they can get on the chase. They moved it quickly through the middle. I like the puck support that they had both at 5-on-5 and on the power play. Owen Power showed what he was all about in that first period, but also Zellweger's going to get this chance here as the puck goes off of Power's skate. Those are both defensemen up on the rush. Canada, very aggressive first period. Cormier with a power play goal. And Canada, a 4 spot. 18 shots in that first period.
And Canada starts the second period with 24 seconds of power play time, and Connor Bedard and Shane Wright are both out there for Canada. Bedard, the 16-year-old, and Wright will turn 18 during this tournament. Wins the face-off back, and we're underway in the second period. Bedard got bumped down from behind as Dudkovsky stepped into him. Now Wright with it. Wright centers it. Bedard whistled that just wide. And the first look at the elite release of Connor Bedard. In the corner is Neighbors. Drops it back. Wright with a chance and a glove save with the right hand of Yaroslav Askarov, a rare right-handed catching goaltender.
There's a good delivery by Shane Wright. Wright had an assist in that first period. On the Cormier goal here, he takes a little pass from Neighbors. He steps right into it. Bedard gets some back pressure here as he's entering the zone. Probably thinks he's got a little more space, but Dudkovsky runs into him from the side. There's that one-timer you're talking about, Gorda. NHL-ready shot. Watches a lot of video of Austin Matthews shooting the puck. Probably a pretty good guy to emulate, but Bedard can really get rid of the puck.
4 shots on goal for Canada on that power play. Here's Matvei Michkov, also a 2023 draft eligible, so just beginning their careers against each other. And a penalty coming now. I think Desnoyers is going to go for a slew foot. He got tangled up in front of the Canadian bench. And so the Russians will get their first power play with 56 seconds gone here in the second period.
They called the trip on Desnoyers. It's right in front of the bench, as you mentioned, as he kicks out the feet of Novikov. So here's the Russian power play, their first chance.
Ponomaryov wins the face-off back, but it gets away from Kirill Kirsanov, a returnee from last year. Kirsanov, a third-round pick of the LA Kings. He spent the entire season in the KHL with SK St. Petersburg. Players who either play for St. Petersburg or who are signed to contracts with them account for more than half of the Russian players. They're cornering the market on the top young players as Pashin works in. In comes Alexander Pashin. Falls as he tangles there with Roland Seeley. Loose puck gathered up by Ridley Gregg. Chip to the other side. And that puck bounced away from Tutnev. Tutnev for Kirsanov. Back across, shot by Pashin, and a glove save by Garand.
Well, Dave Cameron said he didn't want this to turn into a penalty kill power play sort of game, but they've had a look at their power play in the first period, and now their penalty killers get a look here early in the second period. And so Cameron and staff can have some video on what the guys look like as a pair, the forwards, not just the defensemen. You might not like the way a group looks together, and you might flip a couple of forwards through your penalty killing groups.
Face-off won by Maverick Bourque, and the puck sent down the ice. A minute to go in this Russian power play. Husnudinov for Mohamedulin. Brought in now by Michkov. Matvei Michkov, number 17 for Russia. Michkov along the boards, pokes that down to Chibrikov. Chibrikov back for Husnudinov. Husnudinov for Mohamedulin. Back to Husnudinov. Drops it back. Mohamedulin with it. Does love to shoot it. Plays it back across to Michkov. To the goal mouth they go. Score! Looked like Demidov might have got the last touch on that. And a power play goal gives the Russians their first of the game.
Demidov is going to get the credit for this. His pass is going to deflect off the Canadian defenseman's foot up over Garand. So it's Owen Power down on that left side as Demidov, oh, it's off Sabrango's left foot. Demidov has the puck at the goal line, and he's trying to go straight across the crease. Sabrango's in decent position as this pass for Chibrikov is denied. It's actually denied, but man, unfortunately perfect deflection up over Garand's shoulder, and it's 4-1.
So Demidov is one of the 12 players on the Russian roster who has played in all 3 of their leagues this year. The KHL, the VHL, which is their second league, and the MHL, which is their junior league. So a lot of these players play for multiple teams over the course of the season.
Those teams often are, oh, there's a penalty coming up here for Canada as well.
That's delay of game.
That's O'Rourke, I believe.
Yep.
That is going to go to the box. So just mentioning those players, they play on multiple teams, but they're all in the same organization, and so they flip league to league to league. It's got to be really difficult to get any comfort in your game as O'Rourke wants to bank this off the glass, and Russia will get a quick second power play here in this period.
Mahamadulin back at the point along with Michkov. The face-off wasn't done fairly. Ridley Gregg out to take it.
So Gregg and Sordov start off up front as a group together.
Mahamadulin takes the return pass from Husnudinov. Rink wide to Michkov. Michkov shoots, that deflects just wide of the goal. Husnudinov plays it back around. Mahamadulin able to hold the line for the Russians. Demidov back for Michkov to Mahamadulin. Winds and shoots. It's off a stick and ramps up and out of play.
It looks like everything goes through Michkov. I'm laughing at him because he just held his hand out to the bench like, don't change. And so they'll stay on the ice. In the first period, he gave a negative swat of the hand to a defenseman that had dumped the puck in. He wants the puck. He wants it all the time.
Face-off was won by Denoyer. And moved back at center ice. And here is Michkov with it. Michkov for Mahamadulin. Mahamadulin fires it back around. Power gets there, chips that, but Michkov knocks it down. At the line, Mahamadulin holds it. Now moved across. Husnudinov walks in, trying to bat that pass down for Demidov. Husnudinov slides it back. Mahamadulin across for Michkov with a shot. Rebound, loose in front, Garand down. Husnudinov had his shot blocked by Canada's Donovan Sabrango. And the puck cleared out and down to the Russian line. Mahamadulin drops it back. And they're finally changing now as Passion comes out. Drops that back. Feeds it back across. That pass missed Passion. And now Perfetti knocks it back out to center ice. Shoot now. In across the line. 20 seconds to go on the Russian power play. And another penalty coming here. It's going to be a slashing call. It's going to go to Maverick Bork, so a 17-second 5-on-3 coming for Russia.
Well, it can change quick here. There's the slash as Bork comes back on the back pressure. So the Russians will get their third power play. Look at Michkov. This puck's at his knee height. Knocks it down out of the air. And out of this, they're going to get this chance. Duran, nice stop, goes across to the Michkov one-timer for Mahamadulin. And then some help from Sabrango as he helps block the short side.
And Michkov back out there now on the power play. He's a late born in 2004. A December birthday, so he has to wait till 2023 to be drafted. Chibrikov in across the line for Michkov.
Oh, Canada without a stick.
And now a quick shot. Husnudinov. That's knocked away by Garand.
Gregg now has his stick back, but they were down to 2 players with a stick for a moment.
Now 5-on-4 for the Russians. Husnudinov to Mahamadulin. Chibrikov plays it back across. Michkov up the outside of the goal frame. And now scooped up and moved down the ice by Gregg. Well, Dave Cameron, the Canadian coach, telling us this morning he didn't want to see this to be a special teams exhibition. It hasn't been. There's been lots of 5-on-5 play, but he's Had a look at the penalty killers, had a look at the power play.
And has probably had enough of it. Now wants to get back to 5-on-5 here. Still a minute to go, though.
Kirsanov for Tutnev. Ponomarev drops it back. Passion with a shot that goes off a leg and wide. Here's Passion back with it. To Kirsanov. Passion snaps it across. Tutnev in, shoots, and Garand knocks that away. Kirsanov. Tutnev. Rink wide, he goes to Passion. Back to Kirsanov for Tutnev. Walks in, shoots, glove save by Garand.
That's really well executed by Canada's penalty killers. And Donovan Sabrango heads out to block the shot. He takes away the short side of the net. And as he gets out to block this, look at Garand. Garand can look to his left. He knows the short side's taken care of by his defenseman Sabrango. And Garand, who's got really good hands, really quick glove hand, is able to snare it. But that's a good play by Sabrango to head off one half of the net.
Neighbors for the face-off against Ponomarev, and Neighbors wins it. That allows Owen Power to ring it around and send it back down the ice. Here's Kirsanov back for it. Ponomarev. Carolina's second-round pick, one of 10 prospects Carolina has in this year's World Junior Championship. The most in nearly 20 years. Savikov feeds it back. 3 shots on goal for Russia on that power play. Now that shot rattled high by Zinchenko. Battle along the boards. Bork on it. And now Bork brings it out. Maverick Bork, first round pick of Dallas in the 2020 draft. Feeds that down and Bork on it. But it's picked up by Didkovsky. Neighbors works it free. Back at the point, they swing it across. Zellweger fanning that shot on the pass from Lambos. And now lead pass. Finds Didkovsky working in a long shot. And Garand steers that away easily. Zellweger. Up for Johnson. In comes Kent Johnson in stride. And of course, with all that penalty killing, Canada's top offensive guys haven't had a chance to get out there. That third attempt just clipped the very top of the glass before going out. 4-1, Canada leads here in the second period. Time now for hockey-hungry players, powered by Quaker Oats. Well, 4 Edmonton Oil Kings, and they've all got local connections. Sebastian Cossa, the goalie, trains here. Caden Gooley is from just outside Edmonton. Jake Neighbors is from Airdrie, Alberta. And Dylan Gunther's from Edmonton. So all Alberta guys playing for the Edmonton Oil Kings in the Western Hockey League. Great to see the Oil Kings back. A tremendous tradition of junior hockey here. And now Cossa in goal for Canada. Takes over from Dylan Garand.
Nice job for Garand. 1 goal on the 15 shots. Really did a nice job.
So Cossa picked 15th overall in the NHL draft by Detroit in 2021. Native of Fort McMurray, Alberta. As we mentioned, spent a lot of time here training over the years.
And Gorda, there's another example of what the lack of exhibition games has done. These guys haven't been in games in weeks. And so while you would like to give Dylan Garand a full game and Sebastian Cossa a full game, there's just not enough time. You got to get them in half a game each is it.
And even the officials are switching in and out to try to get them on the ice. All 10 teams were scheduled to play today. The Czech-Switzerland game was canceled down in Red Deer as Kent Johnson works in. Johnson shovels it back in front, kicked up by Askarov. Rebound, McTavish turned away. Seeley with it. For Perfetti. Cole Perfetti. Across the top, Perfetti winds his way in, drops it back across. In comes Gooley. The pass bounced off his stick. Gooley to Perfetti. Gooley shoots. That was blocked, but it bounces across to Seeley. Rink wide pass finds Gooley in, and Michkov reached back and took that away. Lead pass to Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault works in. Askarov save. And he'll gather up the rebound. So Sebastian Cossa, number 2 in the Western Hockey League in save percentage, trailing only Dylan Garand. Won his first 8 starts of the year. Detroit traded up to the 15 spot to take him.
It's a good day of work for Dylan Garand as well. Talked about the 15 shots, the 1 goal against, but I like the way he moved in the crease, the way he tracked the puck. He looked very, very confident today.
At the line, Zellweger plays it back in. Mohamedulin, he watched there by Sordiv. And now brought out by Smirnov. Smirnov shoots, and Cossa makes the stop on that.
November birthday is Sebastian Cossa, and at 6'6", it's a late birthday. It's taken him a little bit of time to grow into his body. He's really done so. Here's the look at Garand in his afternoon as he finds the puck through traffic. He's able to stay up on his feet as much as possible, showed the quickness that has long been in his game. Kind of been like a Hockey Canada safety net everywhere he's been. He's been selected to teams, maybe not the starter, then he comes in, does the job like he's done at the U18 before, and he's going to get a crack at the #1 spot here, it looks like, as they start the tournament.
Panamaria works in and shoots. That was blocked. Zellweger back with it. To center ice he goes. Gregg pokes it in for Gunther. Gunther to Gregg. Ridley Gregg, who has a goal in the game, around to Gunther. Cooley's in there as well. Canada changing. Gunther spins and shoots. And Askarov made the save on that. Penalty coming up now.
It's going to be a slash here on Cooley, I believe.
And so the Russians, with a power play goal in the second period, will go back to the man advantage in a moment.
Will Cooley's in the penalty box for Canada as he's in front of the net off the Gunther shot. He's going to reach to lift the stick of Sabakov, but he catches him right in the side of the helmet. So the Russians, who scored on the power play earlier, this now all of a sudden their 4th power play.
And probably not one in the tournament you're going to want to mess around with.
See, this is going to be a dangerous power play. They move the puck, and Michkov, of course, can shoot it.
They've got 8 shots in the power play in the game, just 7 5-on-5. Canada wins that battle for the puck, and Carson Lambo sends it down. 9:40 to go here in the second period. Mohamedulin back to pick it up. Mohamedulin drops it back for Chabrikov. Husnudinov across the line now. And Lambos intercepted that pass. Husnudinov. Back for Mohamedulin. To Husnudinov. Try to drop that back. Perfetti couldn't quite reach it. Husnudinov chops it back. Mohamedulin across to Michkov. Michkov shoots. And Cossa knocks that away. Husnudinov. For Chabrikov. Michkov with it. Back for Mohamedulin. Michkov tees it up and scores. Matvei Michkov, power play goal. And Russia's got 2.
I don't know if either team's going to be crazy about their penalty killing here, but their power plays have been sharp. 2 power play goals each. Michkov had shot earlier on the power play a wrister that was stopped by Cossa. This time's a one-timer, and it's on the short side as he takes the return feed from Mohamedulin. Draws down the penalty killer, which is Desnoyers. And when Desnoyers has to turn and go back to the point, that opens up room for Michkov, and he zips it by Cossa, and it's 4-2.
Michkov, the MVP of the under-18s in Texas last spring, scored 12 goals in 7 games. And now Zubov is having a conversation with the linesman and the official. Dave Cameron getting an update on what's going on. So 9 to go in the second period. It's a 4-2 game. We saw this in the first pre-tournament game between the United States and Finland. The Americans had a 3-1 lead late. After the 5-minute major, the Finns scored 3 consecutive goals on the power play, including the overtime winner.
You see, Desnoyers is not able to shield the pass. They moved it really quickly between Mohamedoulen and Michkov, and they move it back and forth, and it's in the net.
Seeing Bedard and Michkov in the next couple of World Juniors is going to be fun. Kent Johnson centers it. Borg is knocked down hard by Novikov. Here's Cormier with it. Lucas Cormier swings it back down. Next year's World Junior Championship will be in Russia, in Omsk and Novosibirsk in Siberia. Long shot by Cormier, rebound loose in front. McTavish battling for it. Johnson couldn't find him with the pass.
Johnson wanted to go back through the seam as he had McTavish just kind of hanging there on the back door.
Dooley around for Cormier. Now stolen. Walking back in, and a quick shot by Zlodeyev, and a stop made point blank by Kosa.
He wasn't sure where it was for a minute.
Now Johnson winds in as Canada changes.
He tried to flip that up in the air and go get it himself. It's a little bit of a variation of the old chip and chase.
Steklov shoots it in. Kirill Steklov played for the London Knights a couple of years ago. Might go back there after this tournament. It's not clear what his plans are, but as of now, all the Russian players play in Russia. As that puck bounced into the Canadian bench, and play is called.
We spent a fair bit of time in the first period talking about Mason McTavish and Kent Johnson, and this rebound will come to Johnson. He wants to go right back through the front of the net. He sees McTavish standing there. It's a good play by the defenseman, and here's this little chip up in the air to himself, but it's well read by Zinchenko to come across to push it aside.
Xavier Bourgault tried to knock at that. Now Ponomaryov looks ahead and finds Tuknev, but he was bottled up by Power. Smirnov throws that down to Ponomaryov. Two Canadian defenders collided, and the puck thrown back through the crease. Mohamedoulen with it. Mohamedoulen shoots and bounces off a leg and wide, loose to the side of the goal. The centering pass picked up by Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault leaves it back for Zellweger, and picked up now by Power. He looked ahead for Bourgault. The pass too far for him. Icing called against Canada.
The entire tenor of this game has changed now with the 2 Russian power play goals. You mentioned earlier, Gord, that Canada killing all these penalties, 4 of them in the second period. Half their bench just sits there, and they've got extra forwards dressed as well. You just lose the rhythm of the game. Now they've got to try and find it back a little bit.
Bustadino for the face-off against Wright, who also had a terrific under-18 tournament. What a gathering of talent that was. Now Michkov works it and shoots. That was blocked as Zellweger got in the way. Michkov throws it back for Kursanov. The pass missed him. And Michkov directing traffic out there. The youngest Russian player. And it's moved in by Guzlistov. Michkov slides that back to Kormislov. And in comes Svechkov, couldn't get a shot away. Steklov plays it back, and Chabrikov couldn't get a shot away. Sortov with it. Justin Sortov had his pocket pick there. Chabrikov works in. Chabrikov walks right in. A little backhand shot. Kosa makes the save on that. Back at the point. Chabrikov drops it off. Chabrikov a long shot. That goes wide as well. Svechkov with it. Now Chabrikov a chance. That's blocked as well. And Canada with an odd man rush here as the Russians are changing. Neighbors works in for Sortov. That's knocked down and moved out by Savikov. Sortov in across the line now. Justin Sortov plays for the Vancouver Giants in the Western League. Flips that in. Now Savikov had his pocket picked by Cooley. Batted off the boards, not quite out by Smirnov. Bouncing puck and now picked up by Zinchenko. Long cross ice pass for Zlodeyev. Out of his reach, and Canada regroups. O'Rourke. Up for Desnoyers. That pass bounced away from him. Zellweger jumped up for Canada. For Desnoyers. Cooley came in. Gave Savikov a hard ride. And the puck loose at center ice. Shots are 25-16 in favor of Canada. Ronan Sealing, native of Olds, Alberta, a couple hours south of here. Battles for it in the corner. A strong Western presence on the Canadian team. 12 players from the Western League on the roster. And the puck loose at center ice. Chutnev tries to drop that back. Novikov works in around McTavish. Chutnev trying to play it back around. The pass was picked off by Lambos. Knocked free by Bork. And across he goes to Sealy. McTavish works ahead. McTavish across to Johnson. Kent Johnson centering pass. Loose puck that was knocked away from McTavish. Johnson. These guys went to town in the first period. Kent Johnson. Long wrist shot goes wide. Picked up by McTavish. Mason McTavish. To Gooley. Gooley rink wide. Centering pass, McTavish walks in, scores! What a move by Mason McTavish! And it's 5-2 Canada.
What patience on McTavish, a NHL ready shot. And slick hands as he takes the pass from Donovan Sabrango across the seam. Askarov thinks he's going to shoot it. He freezes him and then goes around Askarov and has enough room and time to pull it back to the goal crease and push it into the net. Just a beauty from McTavish.
One of 7 Canadian players who can return next year. And McTavish yelling down the bench at Sabrango about the nice pass. So 3.5 to go here in the second period, and Canada has regained its 3-goal lead. Perfetti picks it free. In comes Cole Perfetti. Shovels that towards the goal. Askarov down, made the save. Now Steklov for Husnudinov. In for Michkov. Matvei Michkov. Trying to step around Perfetti. Michkov still on it. Sends it back in front. Husnudinov turned away, and Kosa quickly pounces on the rebound. 5-2 Canada leads. Mason McTavish. What a goal.
In the first period, we saw Canada's defense way up in the play. Zellweger and Owen Power on a rush. This time it's Caden Gooley going D to D, but that's his defense partner, Zabrango, who's down at the hash marks. Side to side, the D stretch up and down the zone, and Zabrango finds McTavish for a beauty.
And there's a long shot by Mohamed Doolin, and that's stopped by Sebastian Kosa.
Mohamed Doolin has signed his entry-level contract at the start of December with the New Jersey Devils.
And now Mohamed Doolin bats at that. The puck goes into the Russian bench, and it all begins for real on Boxing Day. Canada opens against Czechia, the former Czech Republic. They've asked to be called Czechia. We'll have all the games for you here on TSN, leading to the gold medal game on January the 5th. And by January the 5th, you'll barely be able to remember what happened on Boxing Day.
Amazing how the tournament changes. Somebody that was really struggling catches fire or goes the other way.
Mohamed Doolin moved around Cooley. Shoots. That was knocked down in front. Zellweger. Got it turned away, and that shot fired wide by Zinchenko. Battle on the boards for it. Back of the line, Zinchenko fires it back in. Zinchenko, another guy who has played in all 3 Russian leagues this year. And here's Zinchenko back with it. Steps around Zellweger. Flips it back to Smirnov. Cross he goes to Novikov, and they score! From the sharp angle. Pashin puts it by Kosa, and it's 5-3.
4-goal first, now 4 goals here in the second. His Pashin's right along the goal line. Oh, he catches Kosa leaning off the post. He's shooting this. Sometimes players will just try and direct this to the front of the net, but he catches Kosa out, not sealing the post in a almost impossible angle goal from Pashin has made it 5-3.
We talked about that championship game with the Lincoln Gretzky Cup in 2019, the summer under-18 tournament. Pashin scored twice in that championship game in the 3-2 Russian win. Wasn't selected to play for the Russians last year. And here's Kent Johnson knocking it back. The only dress rehearsal these teams have for the upcoming tournament. There's a hand pass called at center ice. We've talked a little bit about the Russian team, and they've chosen all their players from Russian leagues this year for the tournament. They've also talked about imposing a financial penalty on players who leave under 23 to go play in other pro leagues outside of Russia, so it would force players to reimburse their club teams. In addition, SK St. Petersburg and other teams are signing young players to long contracts. Michkov, we mentioned, a 6-year deal is signed, so a team that drafted him presumably in 2023 would not be able to get him until the fall of 2026. And more players are experiencing that. The Russians are trying to gain more leverage, and they want the KHL to become not just a better league, but they're looking, Ray, for soccer-style transfer fees. They're not signatories to the NHL IIHF transfer agreement right now, but they want bigger money for their players, which is right now prohibited for NHL teams to do.
Like to keep their players at home, so it now becomes a financial war, basically, for some of these terrific young players.
NHL teams cannot make direct payments to teams in Europe to get players. Final minute now of the period. In comes Perfetti. Cole Perfetti swings it back across for Power. In comes Owen Power. Walks off the boards. Power still on it. Peels back, slides it back. Perfetti with a chance, works in and shoots. Askarov save. He juggled the rebound, but hangs on.
Strong play by Power down the right wing boards. As he holds the puck, and when there's no play, he's just going to kind of reverse it to Perfetti. He gets by the forward here rather easily, but he doesn't throw it blindly into the slot. He turns back, and Perfetti tries to go up over the glove of Askarov, who makes the stop.
Right for the face-off, a scramble draw, poke free by Perfetti, who flipped that wide. Right, flips it back, and that long shot by O'Rourke kicked up by Askarov. Steklov moved that to center ice, knocked down by Perfetti. He swings it back for Power. Owen Power in from Mississauga, Ontario for Perfetti. And that plays offside at the Russian line. 8 seconds to go in the second period.
The 4-0 Canada lead is now 5-3.
On the left, there's Oleg Znarok, former head coach of the Russian national men's team. So he's an assistant coach to Zubov. We mentioned Zubov has been a head coach in the KHL before for 3 different teams. And so the Russians get some life here in the second period. Canada's got a 5-3 lead after 40 minutes of play. You're watching pre-tournament action for the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship. Our second intermission is coming up.
years, Esso has supported Canadian hockey with programs like the Esso Medals of Achievement, Esso Fun Days, and the Esso Cup through our long-standing partnership with Canada's national teams. Esso, proud premier partner of Hockey Canada.
It's a tradition, Christmas Day, NBA, and it's a triple header on TSN. Hawks and Knicks at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Nets, Lakers, and Mavs and Jazz wrap it up 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. All of it on TSN. James Duthie and Bob McKenzie back with your second intermission. I suppose it's a smart rule in hockey that if you are going to be undisciplined and a little sloppy in a period, it might as well be in a pre-tournament game with a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, Team Canada giving head coach Dave Cameron something to work with. That's the positive way of looking at taking 4 minor penalties. The general rule of thumb with Hockey Canada when it goes to the national junior team program at the World Juniors is never take more than 4 minor penalties in a game. That's the goal. They took 4 in that period, and that's not an ideal circumstance. Tripping in the neutral zone, Dave Cameron's not going to love that one. Puck over glass, hey, it happens.
Hey,
that's fine. Yeah, hey, there you go. Back check, slash, and this one 200 feet away. Those are the ones that will really bother Dave Cameron in terms of that far away, and you do not want to put the Russians on the power play. Matvei Michkov, the 17-year-old, potential #1 overall pick in 2023, he loads up from that shooter spot, left shot, and boy, he just kept on firing. Guerin made all sorts of good saves, and eventually they go back, and boom, in the back of the net. You're tempting fate every time you put Michkov in the Russian power play on the power play.
He looks like he's controlling that team now. He is going to be a huge problem next year in Russia for Russia. The starting goaltending job for Canada was up for grabs coming into camp, perhaps even coming into tonight, but the way Guerin played, 1 goal and 15 shots, and the fact Kosa had a bit of a rough period, is it pretty much solidified who's going to be starting on Boxing Day?
Yeah, my word's not final here. To surprise you to know that I'm not coaching Team Canada. But, I mean, Guerin got the start, and he's a returning player, and he looks dialed in. And I would say right now that I'd be really surprised, personally, if he's not the starting goaltender on opening night. Just looks really dialed in and doing a really good job. And I mean, the one shot that ends up beating him, it's not even from the stick of a Russian player. It went off Sabrango's foot. So 1 goal on 15 shots on goal. I thought he looked calm, cool, collected, really dialed in. And based on what we saw, I think he's the starter on opening night, but we shall see.
Kent Johnson and Mason McTavish are going to be a lot of fun to watch for the next couple of weeks. Craig Button will talk about Kent Johnson in our next segment, but Mason McTavish, has he been Canada's most dangerous player?
They've been the 2 most noticeable offensive players, and the thing you love about McTavish is he's got an unbelievable shot. He can really fire a puck, but he's also got great hands, and we see an example of that here in the way he dances around Askarov. But the other element of his game that makes him completely different than Kent Johnson is that he's such a gnarly player. He gets into the dirty areas. He's very physical. He's not afraid to agitate and throw teams off their game. He's a net front presence, and he's got a real edge to his game as well. So right now, he's, based on what we've seen here, and it doesn't come as any surprise, but that looks like the #1 center for Team Canada in the early going here, that his line has been the most dangerous 5-on-5. He's been good on the power play, and, you know, him and Johnson have been dominant out there.
Just the whole picture, the maturity of his game. I don't know if it's the facial hair. He looks like an NHL vet already, and he's eligible for the World Juniors again next year, but we think no chance. He's going to be a full-timer in Anaheim. As for Kent Johnson, again, a terrific first 2 periods for him. We'll bring in Craig Button to talk about what sets Johnson apart next. 5-3, Canada leads after 2 on TSN.
A bit of teamwork, a bit of determination, and a bit of confidence go a long way. Timbits Hockey is proud to support 100,000 kids across Canada each year, giving them a little bit of extra help and a whole lot of fun.
Do us a favor, if we can ask. If you're enjoying Christmas Eve with your family, turn Bob and I and Craig on in the background just so we can feel like we're part of it. Save us some eggnog. We'll have a full World Junior preview show, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Well, this is what Kent Johnson can do in warm-up. We've seen the skill, which is ridiculous. You've seen it at the University of Michigan, and we've seen it so far through 2 periods of play. He's been just terrific as we bring in Craig Button one more time. Knowing what he can do, and I know you've seen a ton of them, and seeing what we've seen in the first couple of periods, what kind of impact do you think he will have in this tournament?
Well, I'll use the word significant, and then I'm going to say that he could have an impact much like the impact that Trevor Zegras had en route to the MVP and helping the USA win the gold medal last year at the World Junior. I mean, he's got that type of skill as you talk about it. And the one thing I'm also going to say, James, I'm not buying what he told Mark Masters, that he wouldn't try the Zegras. There is no lack of confidence with Kent Johnson. So, you know, he might just be misleading a whole lot of people. Mark Masters, who's not easily fooled, but I'm not buying Kent Johnson when he says, I'm not so sure I would try that in the World Juniors. Watch for it.
He's tied Kyle Connor's University of Michigan record for the fewest career games to 50 points. Look, we've seen the skill, but is there one thing that sets him apart from a tournament full of skilled players?
Imagination. I mean, you got to have skill to be a top-notch player, and he has that in abundance. But he's got imagination, and with that imagination, he's got supreme confidence. He sees plays that others may not see. He lets plays develop. He's got a poise and a patience because he sees the bigger picture. And it's the stuff of brilliance, and it's the stuff of magic. Do you remember the other Magic Johnson that came from Michigan? It was Michigan State, not the University of.
Yeah, Ken Johnson, of course, had COVID, and perhaps lesser players wouldn't have been invited to Team Canada camp, but they left a spot for him, knowing the value that he would have, and we've seen it through 2 periods of play. A little bit of a rough second for Canada after a 4-0 start to this one. They still lead it, though, 5-3 through 2 periods of play. We'll take one more break and get you back to Gordon Ray in the third from Edmonton here on TSN. Here's your second period scoring summary. A lot more Russian flags on this one as Mishkov gets his first. McTavish his second and third point of the game. And Passion's first with a double dose of assists from Nikitas. Russia opens up against Sweden in Red Deer on Boxing Day. Canada against the Czechs from Edmonton. But one more period to play before they get there with Gordon Ray.
All right, thank you, James. You know, you think back 18 years to the tournament in Halifax in '03, and the first time we got to see Alexander Ovechkin. There's that moment when you first see someone that you never forget. This is your first time seeing Matvei Michkov.
Yeah, different than what I thought. You know, like you hear about a player, you read about him, you see him in highlights, and you make this mental picture of what he's going to be. And Michkov really doesn't look much like I thought he was. He's stockier than I thought. He's strong on the puck. He can really shoot it, and he shoots it in various ways. The snapshot we saw there, here's going to be the one-timer that he beats Kosa on the short side. He demands the puck when he's on the ice. It's just there's a presence to this kid that when the play is in full force, he wants the puck coming to him, and they want to get it to him. At just 17 years old, you can see how dynamic he is already and what he's going to look like.
New goalie for Russia for the third period, Yegor Guskov, who plays for Yaroslavl in the MHL, which is the Russian Junior League. So the 19-year-old comes on, just 5'11", in place of Yaroslav Askarov, who allows 5 goals on 29 Canadian shots. Russia, as we mentioned, will open against Sweden on Boxing Day. They play Switzerland, Slovakia, and close out the round robin against the United States on New Year's Eve. Canada opens against Czechia on Boxing Day. And a big hit there as Justin Sorda stepped into his man and rocked Nikita Smirnov. Here's Smirnov back with it. Throws that back down to the Canadian zone, and Power finds Wright. Ustedinov picks it off. Ustedinov rink wide for Michkov. Shoots, and Kosa knocks that away. Here's Michkov again. That bounces away. Zellweger moves it ahead. Zellweger flips that, but the puck bounces into the Russian bench. We mentioned that '03 championship in Halifax. You see Dave Cameron behind the Canadian bench. In '04 in Helsinki, you had the first overall pick from the year before, Marc-Andre Fleury in goal. You had Ovechkin, who was going to go first in the upcoming draft, and you had Crosby, who would go first in '05.
there's some, some players that are, you've got Wright here, that most people believe is the first pick this year, and then you've got the young guys next year into 2023. It's just such a cool thing to see these players jump onto the stage for the first time. They can really grab your attention early. You see Dave Cameron, he told us this morning, Gord, that at some point, he really wants to evaluate its lines at 5-on-5, and I'm sure they'd love to see this period played just as it is now.
Savakov, a shot that deflected wide. Picked out by Gooley, and Caden Gooley. In across center ice, now across the line, Gooley. Spreads out ahead for Perfetti. Perfetti, a centering pass, and a quick chip there. Taken by Xavier Bourgault, and that's stopped by Guskov.
Guskov gets into the game, and his first test is not an easy one. It's right from in close here, as he's got to follow the puck behind the net, or Perfetti goes behind the back to Bourgault, and he pushes right to left to make the stop on Bourgault. 22 goals in 24 games for Bourgault with Shawinigan this year.
Bump back down to the Canadian zone. Lambo's back to pick it up. Carson Lambos, Winnipeg native, first round pick of the Minnesota Wild, moved that back to center ice.
We got a penalty, an interference call here. I think this is on Smirnov.
It is.
Away from the play, Canada will get their fourth power play. Oh, he's late to the hit as Bourque had one-touched the puck away. That's a pretty solid hit that he absorbs. And Canada's power play, including Maverick Bourque, will jump out for the first time in this period.
Canada 2 for 3 with 7 shots in the power play. Perfetti looks back to Power. Rink winding goes to Johnson, to McTavish in front of the goal. McTavish back across to Perfetti. Cole Perfetti centers it. That's tipped wide by Bourque. Perfetti back for Power to Johnson. Johnson to Bourque to Power. Slides that down. Johnson to Bourque in the high slot, shoots, and Guskov knocks that away. Now brought out by Power. Power drops it back. In comes Mason McTavish with it. McTavish rings that around, waiting for it is Johnson. Kent Johnson slides it back to Power, to Johnson. Looks back to Power. Power bumps it across. McTavish for Perfetti, trying to swing it back across. And Johnson leaves it there for Power. Owen Power slides that back to Maverick Bourque. 45 seconds to go on the power play. Power back with it. Not a big shooter from the point. Back to Perfetti. Walks it and shoots. It ramps off a stick and wide and bounces back to center ice.
I like the movement for Canada. McTavish started down by the net front and Bourque up in the bumper spot. They ended up flipping around. McTavish moving up into the middle, and out of those different sets, Canada with a couple of decent chances.
Jake Neighbors in for Zellweger. Back for Neighbors. Pumps that back to Wright, to Cormier. In comes Wright with it. Shane Wright, back for Cormier. Across he goes to Zellweger. Pass across and Wright with a shot. Glove saved by Guskov.
That's a nice save for Guskov. Really sure about himself as Shane Wright gets the opportunity from the top of the circles. And Connor Bedard's in the bumper spot here. Wright shows good control as it goes back to Cormier and Zellweger, and those two mobile along the line, opens up that chance, and it's really a clean look for Guskov from that position.
Zubov once again getting an explanation from an official. Referees have rotated through this game as well. As Gooley shoots, that's blocked. 2 shots for Canada, that power play, right?
Gord, sorry, I'm laughing at Zubov talking to the officials. He never spoke on the ice, ever. He's had a running conversation going over.
Now back at the point, and that shot by Mohamedulin trails wide. The other thing is Oleg Znarok, as we mentioned, the longtime former coach of the Russian national team, is an assistant here, and he's very active behind the Russian bench, as he was behind the national team bench. Now a loose puck at the side of the goal, knocked down by Neighbors, and a quick chance for sort of. That's just wide. Seeley steps up. Knocked down by Neighbors. Goes back across to Ridley Gregg, who has a goal here tonight. In for Sorda. Justin Sorda throws that towards the goal, gathers it back up. Sorda still on it. Looks for Gregg to Sorda. Back to O'Rourke. Sorda down to Cooley. And Will Cooley peels out of the corner. Crisscrossing there with O'Rourke, who's jumped up. Hard pass for Sorda. Swings it back in, and Cooley couldn't reach that pass. O'Rourke winds and shoots, and Guskov knocks that away. Now a centering pass just out of the reach of Cooley. And the rebound rattled high by O'Rourke.
That's a good shift for Canada. They get their big guys engaged in the game and control 30 seconds in the offensive zone.
Here's Wright with it, back to center ice. That's knocked down by Kormislav. And back to pick it up is O'Rourke. Perfetti for Sabrango. Donovan Sabrango drops it back to the right. Rink wide pass, missed Bourgault. Now Bourgault stays on it as Michkov knocked it down for the Russians. At center ice, Lambo's gotten a collision. He's back to his feet. Kuzlistov brings it back now for Russia. In across the line he comes. Drops that back for Yurov. Now Michkov for Yurov. That's knocked down by Perfetti. Cross it goes to Sabrango. Lifted back to center ice. Novikov for Yurov. And Sabrango chops at that. Plays it back out to the Russian zone. Back goes Kirsanov to pick it up, being shadowed there by Bork. This is Chabrikov. Jumping it across the line. Poke check there by McTavish. Rebound loose in front. Chabrikov couldn't quite reach it. And now Johnson back the other way. Kent Johnson. Rink wide pass to Zellweger. Zellweger across to Johnson. Centers of McTavish's shot that rattled wide.
Oh, do Johnson and McTavish ever have the feel where each other are today?
Now bouncing puck at center ice, knocked down by Owen Power. Cross he goes to Zellweger. Lead pass to Johnson. Here they come again. Drops for McTavish. Shoots. And Guskov makes the save. 5-3 Canada leads. It's pre-tournament action for the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship. Well, the Crave homegrown original comedy sensation critics call obscenely funny and brilliant is back with all new episodes. Letterkenny, new season Christmas Day, only on Crave. Nothing says Christmas like Letterkenny.
No, of course not.
For the fellas. Now Guli plays that back into the Russian zone. That's knocked down by Zlodeyev. And brought out now by Zinchenko. And that's shot in from the wrong side of center ice. Icing called against the Russians.
Well, both teams will get, and the same, I guess, with everyone else in the tournament, but the Czechs and the Swiss who didn't get to play today, but they'll get some game film to look at their team, see what worked, what they thought might that didn't, or what exceeded their expectations. And I mean, for Canada, it would have done them no good to play a team not on their level. I mean, it was important to play somebody like Russia here in a game like this.
So this was supposed to be their third pre-tournament game, so you always want to play a tough one before you go into the tournament. Canada will take on the Czechs on Boxing Day, as you mentioned, and close against the Finns on New Year's Eve. The Russians are in a much tougher group. It's based on the standings from the year before. Now a steal. And the centering pass is knocked down as Desnoyers got a stick on that.
Sweden, Switzerland, Slovakia, and then the U.S. on New Year's Eve for Russia.
Lead pass to Pashin. Bouncing puck was knocked away and scooped up there by Ryan O'Rourke. Plays for Sault Ste. Marie in the Ontario League. Sealing around to O'Rourke. Chop back to center ice. Tutney couldn't gather up the rolling puck, and now Mohamedulin has it back for the Russians. Ponomaryov sends that down, and a race for it. O'Rourke gets there. Tangles with Tutnev. And at the line, it's held by Kormislav. Here's O'Rourke on it now. And Ryan O'Rourke back with it, the Bowmanville, Ontario native. Tied up in the corner. They're battling the corner for it. Chutney trying to work that free, and does. Passion can't get a shot away. The puck loose and kicked away by Sortov, and back out to center ice. And trying to wind in was Kormislav, but his clearing attempt went into the Canadian bench.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Quaker Oats, proud partner of Canadian Hockey Mornings.
Back here in Edmonton, that's City Hall. Dave Cameron, 11 years after he last coached the Canadian national junior team. We actually saw him in Europe a bunch of times. He was coaching the Vienna Capitals in Austria. He's very happy there, but got a chance to come back. He's the head coach of the Ottawa 67s in the OHL and back to coach the Canadian national junior team. Now Bedard works in and shoots. He whistled that wide.
One of the rare 5-on-5 shifts for Connor Bedard. Of the difficulties for young players playing in this tournament is you just don't get to play as much as you do at home, and so you got to find a shift, find something to be effective at.
And Bedard the 7th. We got a chance to talk to Connor McDavid last week when we were here, and about his 16-year-old experience. He played in the 2014 tournament in Sweden, and it didn't go great for him at times. He was benched at times for taking penalties.
I found it interesting that Connor McDavid said he wasn't sure he felt like he belonged at the tournament as a 16-year-old. And you're like, it seems so absurd to think of that now. But at the time, you're a 16-year-old kid.
Perfetti centers it all alone in front. Bedard scores!
He belongs on cue. Left all alone in front of the net. Connor Bedard's got his first. I thought he was going to one-time this. As the Russians are breaking out, it deflects off their own player's skate. Really nice play in front of the net from Perfetti across to Bedard. I thought he's going to one-time it when the puck comes straight across the net. But look at the patience. Hold it, one move to his right, pull it around the goaltender and does not miss. Connor Bedard, who had 28 points in 15 games last year, is a 15-year-old in Regina, 14 goals in 24 games this year. A rare 5-on-5 shift here today, but he's got a goal on a nice pass from Perfetti.
Native of North Vancouver, BC.
Team Canada goal scored by number 16, Connor Bedard.
Got a chance to talk to John Paddock, his coach in Regina. Paddock said, he's the real deal. There's no other way to describe it. He just has it. You can't define it, but you know it when you see it. And Paddock said he's got it.
Oh, so there's a goal for Michkov, a goal for Bedard. Yeah. That's the 2023 guys on the board today.
Power puts it high in the air, back to center ice, past the midway point now of the third period. And Mason McTavish whistles that back down to the Russian zone. Nikita Smirnov drops that back, and here is Mohamedulin with it. He'll play a ton for the Russians in the tournament. Runs their power play. Cooley bumps it back down the Russian line, and Kormislav back around to Kirsanov. Now that centering pass is knocked down, kicked away by Cooley. The old Cooley. Drop that back for Cormier. Desnoyers pokes at it. Cooley trying to work it free. And now Cooley. Back across to Cormier, who flips that back down, but Desnoyers was offside, so they're going to tag up. Zinchenko rolls that down slowly, handled easily by Kosa. And Cooley brings it back across to Cormier. By the way, the officials will be international crews this year. Last year was all Canadian officials because of the border closures. So we're back to full international crews at this World Junior Championship. Nifty move there by Chuknev. Feeds it back across to Passion. That handcuffed him. Passion. He in the corner with it now. Got tied up there by Neighbors. Passion stays on it. Takes the return pass and shoots. And Kosa got a glove on that, but the puck was played with a high stick. And the face-off will come outside. 8:08 to go here in the third period. Connor Bedard's on the board for Canada at the age of 60.
Behind the bubble that he's wearing in this tournament, a visor in the Western Hockey League, is a 16-year-old. Connor Bedard takes the Perfetti pass and just shows awesome patience 5 feet from the net. It's one thing to have the patience. Don't forget, I don't think Connor Bedard's played 6 or 7 minutes today. So to have that patience while you're standing there, to accept the pass and to still not panic and shoot it right away, is the mark of a score.
We asked Connor McDavid what advice he'd give to a 16-year-old playing in the tournament. He said turn off social media. Right away he said turn off social media. McDavid felt like paying attention to it just made things snowball for him. And the next year, when the tournament was in Toronto and Montreal, the Canadian players as a group said they would not be on social media or devices during the tournament. And McDavid felt that was a big factor in their gold medal win.
So much pressure on the players anyway, and if they're worried about what everybody else thinks of them, it becomes even more difficult.
Especially when a lot of those everyone else's are anonymous.
Sure.
Jake Neighbors works it back in. Here's Smirnoff back for it. Knocked down by Sorda, but that's taken away by Svechkov. Kuzlitsov works in and whistled that wide. And now Kuzlitsov trying to move it back in, but Bork, a little cold shoulder there on Chabrikov. And here's O'Rourke with it. Up ahead to Neighbors, who chips it down to the Russian zone. And Guskov out to play it. Canada won the semifinal matchup a year ago, 5-0. Went on to lose the gold medal game to Team USA. The Russians lost the bronze medal game to the Finns. Igor Larionov was their coach last year. Kusnedinov works in. Centers it. And that shot taken by Yurov goes off a stick, up and out of play.
So Canada comfortably in front here, 6-3. And it's been an odd period and a bit for Sebastian Kosa. He hasn't had a lot of work. He's given up the 2 goals, and one of them a sharp angle shot from Passion that beat him from almost along the goal line. And I would suspect the goaltending lineup looks as though Garand will start the first game. He was terrific in his stint today, 28 minutes that he was in, 1 goal on 15 shots.
Now Bedard back out there for Canada. By the way, Canada plays back-to-back games December 28th and 29th against Germany and Austria. Wright tries to knock that back for Bedard. Ahead for Wright. In comes Wright. Drop pass for Lambos. Across to Sabrango. Shoots. And the stop made by Guskov. Wright feeds that back to Sabrango. Little pass finds Perfetti. Wright poking at it, but it bounces away, and Sabrango has to retreat to center ice. McTavish drops it back to Johnson. In comes Kent Johnson across the line. And tried to shoot him at it, fanned. And now Power back to pick it up. Owen Power drops that back to Zellweger. Top defense pair for Canada goes to work. As Mohamedulin knocks that back for Kormislav. Ponomaryov Moves that in. And away comes Johnson with it. Kent Johnson. And that roll off his stick, sent back down. We mentioned the Russians have no North American players on their roster. In 2011 they did that, won the gold medal. That team was pretty good. That was Kuznetsov, Panarin, Tarasenko. They were all right.
It's tough to take any formula and say in an age-out tournament that's the one you should use. Every year presents a different challenge or different opportunity. So I don't know that there's exactly one way that you need to go about it. A little bit of frustration for Sergei Zubov. His team's had a little bit of trouble, I would say, moving the puck with any cohesion up the ice.
When the Rangers won the Cup in 1994, he was their leading scorer in the regular season. And that was Brian Leetch. I mean, that was a good team.
Yeah, when him and Brian Leetch were together on the ice, which actually they set up the first goal of the final game in Game 7 about Vancouver, it was Zubov way down by the net, and he found Leetch, who was just far down the ice, to put the Rangers ahead.
There's Sergei Zubov behind the Russian bench.
He was so good with the puck. He would just stand there and you would come at him and try and take his ice away, and he would just stand there like a statue, and then he'd pass it right through your feet. He was so good with the puck.
Named to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2019. He was a World Junior Gold medalist for the then Soviet Union in '89, won an Olympic gold medal with the...
Oh, look out.
There was a hit at center ice, and Desnoyers taken down, and he's limping back to the Canadian bench.
That looked awkward the second that he went into the boards.
Desnoyers very slowly back to the Canadian bench. Of course, Canada lost Kirby Dach last year before the tournament began in a pre-tournament game right here. And Desnoyers is heading down the tunnel, I think, towards the Canadian dressing room. Svechkov. Drops that back to Husnudinov, and a sharp angle shot taken there by Svechkov. Goes off the side of the net. Now picked up by Sorda. Justin Sorda. Up for Neighbors. And Husnudinov back for it. 3:45 to go in the third period. Edmonton and Red Deer will play host to this year's tournament. Red Deer playing host to games for the first time since the 1995 tournament when Canada won gold. As that sharp angle shot is stopped by Kosa, he'll hang on. That was during a lockout year. That was the first of the so-called dream teams for Canada.
Well, look at this play as Desnoyers goes into the boards and his left foot is extended and folds back on him. Yikes. He doesn't really put much on it, much weight on it as he heads to the locker room. And it was a hard look for him there.
Hamadulin lays that down. Here's Perfetti with it. Cole Perfetti for Zellweger. Now Zellweger walks it and shoots. That's gloved by Guzkov. And again, the rosters are 25 players per team, 22 skaters, 3 goaltenders. You cannot replace a player now. Since December 15th, you cannot add anyone to your roster.
Hopefully it's not as bad as he looked. Actually, he's coming back onto the bench.
Back on the Canadian bench, but that's a great sign.
Young.
Okay.
Good for him. That did not look very good.
Now Wright gets taken down. That's going to be a penalty to Russia as Nikita Novikov goes off with 3:05 to go in the third period.
A strong play by Wright as he takes the puck into the defender's space, and Novikov has to defend him, but Wright's turning into him. He ends up wrapping his arm around him. That's a drawn penalty. Nicely done by Shane Wright.
So McTavish comes back out with Perfetti, Bork, Johnson, and Power. McTavish wins the face-off to Perfetti, takes the return pass from Power. Perfetti to Power. Oh, and Power, little wrist shot loose in front. They battle away for it. Bork put it wide. Winding in is Johnson. Down to McTavish. Flips it back to Power. Power to McTavish. Back to Power. McTavish to Johnson. Loose in front. Battle for the puck. McTavish back on it. And now Power reaches out and holds the line. That long shot drifts down, and Guskov makes the save.
Nothing too crisp about that, but they end up with a couple of good chances out of it, as well as Guskov makes the save. Bork had 2 chances, one on a rebound, one on a tip. As like earlier, he bounces back and forth from the bumper spot down to the net front.
Now the second unit comes out. Neighbors, along with Bedard, Wright, Cormier, and Zellweger. And here is Zellweger with it. Across to Wright, and the puck bounced out. Nolan Zellweger, Anaheim's second-round pick in 2021. Up ahead for Wright. Wright drops it back. Here's Zellweger. Neighbors to Cormier, back at the point. Zellweger is shot, that deflected wide. At the point is Zellweger. Takes a return pass from Cormier.
2 minutes left in the third period.
In comes Wright with a long shot. Bouncing puck on the side of the goal. Goes to Neighbors. Neighbors back to Wright. Neighbors got tied up at the corner. Fish back to Zellweger. Zellweger to Wright. Walks in and shoots. He rattled that high. Cormier trying to hold the line and skipped away from him, and he pokes it back to Zellweger. 30 seconds to go in the Canadian power play. Lead pass for Bedard, but it's offside at the Russian line.
Nice little quick up as the puck was cleared out of the zone, and as the Russians changed, Bedard just made a tight turn and headed straight up the ice. Neighbors just wasn't able to get out of the zone. I thought it was pretty tight. As Bedard scoops, takes that puck, and now he's on his way into the zone. They called Neighbors on the far side off on the play.
McTavish back out there for the face-off. Shovel back to center ice, and Power slides it across to Goulet. Now Perfetti up for McTavish, picks up the loose puck. Mason McTavish in the corner with it. Back for Goulet. Canada with 2 defensemen out there at the end of this power play now. Power for Goulet. McTavish walks off the boards, drops it down to Perfetti. 2 shots for Canada on that power play. Out of the box comes Novikov. That's flipped wide. Power flips it there to Perfetti. Cole Perfetti across the line, flips it there to Power, jumping up. Oh, and Power, a centering pass, flipped just wide by Bork. Inside a minute to go now in the third period. Drop pass there, score! Husnudinov drops it back, Michkov again. He's got his second, it's 6-4.
The 2 best players on the Russian side today, Merritt Husnudinov, a second rounder of Minnesota in 2020. And Matvei Michkov is going to one-time this. This is a rocket. Quick, and it beats Kosa again. But it's Husnudinov's speed that pushes Canada back deep into the zone. Sabrango backs off. Husnudinov leaves it on the tee. And Michkov makes it 6-4.
Matvei Michkov, who burst onto the scene at the Under-18 Championship in Texas last spring. Makes his presence felt here in the pre-tournament. He'll be someone to watch this year, next, and who knows beyond that. A centering pass, Husnudinov knocks it down. 20 seconds to go in the period. Novikov Drops that back. And now Husnudinov, the captain, teed that up and deflected up and out of play.
Also, Canada will get a win to a couple of days to prepare for the Boxing Day opener. Lots to tighten up defensively. I would say they gave up a little bit much early. The Garand was terrific. Not a great day for Sebastian Cossa in goal here, as he gave up the 3 goals in relief of Garand. But lots to like offensively. The power play was good. They got some goals from people that are supposed to score them.
And Michkov, another shot there with 5 seconds to go in the period.
That kid falls out of bed and shoots the puck. Man, it's on his stick and it is off in a hurry.
We mentioned at the under-18 tournament, Michkov scored 12 goals in 7 games. Led the tournament in goals and points. He has 2 goals in 13 games in the KHL this year with SKA St. Petersburg. He's also played in the MHL, the Russian Junior League. There's Krisanov, a shot that rattles high off the glass. Cossa sweeps that away. And Canada will leave the pre-tournament game with a 6-4 win over Russia. Next stop, the Czechs. On Boxing Day, the Russians will head down to Red Deer and face Sweden on Boxing Day. With the player of the game presentations and then the Canadian anthem. Final shots 38-26 in favor of Canada.
A couple of goals for Mason McTavish. Ridley Gregg had one. Cormier, Johnson in the first period. Connor Bedard in the third.
The best players of each team is proudly presented by Close General Leather Company. Each winner is awarded a pair of handmade leather gloves. Recipients will receive their award after they exit the ice. Best player of Team Russia is number 17, Matvei Mishkov.
Likely not his last.
No, I don't think so.
The best player of Team Canada is number 23, Mason McTavish.
See, McTavish is going to be a handful physically in this tournament to try and hold on to. Just a big, strong player. Terrific,
Ladies and gentlemen,
terrific game.
Please rise for the national anthem of Team Canada. Mesdames et messieurs, merci de vous lever afin d'écouter l'hymne national d'Équipe Canada.
The 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship is presented by Esso, proudly fueling Hockey Canada since 1984. By Nike, official gear of Canada's national hockey teams. By TELUS, we're using the power of our purpose to help make the world a better place. Together, let's make the future friendly. And by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of Team Canada. The 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship is brought to you in part by the 2022 Chevrolet Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Well, that was our condensed pre-tournament action, just one day this year because of the COVID protocols, and so it begins for real on Boxing Day. Finland, Germany, Russia, Sweden, Czech Republic, Canada, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the pregame, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, and the U.S. and Slovakia from Red Deer wraps up our quartet of games to open up the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship. So only one game, but learned a lot from Team Canada. Got to see a lot offensively. 6 goals, a little work to do on the D, but they have a couple days to do it before facing Czechia on Boxing Day. Have a great holiday. Don't forget to join us for the World Junior Preview Show, a full hour on your Christmas Eve. Thanks for watching.